Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Health Talk. Today I'll be discussing all about health, and hopefully the information I give you will educate you and enlighten you on how you can improve your life and your health and wellness. I'm going to begin by saying that there's actually 6 pillars of health that you need to be aware of before you can start changing your life and improving your health and wellness. These 6 pillars are the physical aspect, the psychological, which breaks down into mental and intellectual, spiritual, social, environmental, and then emotional. I'm going to start with physical because I think that's where people think, if you're physically fit, then you're just healthy automatically, which I don't think is the case. So I'm going to discuss physical, and what does that actually entail? So physical entails your body's capability of, if you're in shape, and by in shape I mean your cardiovascular fitness is good, you have muscular strength and power, flexibility, mobility, things of that nature. It doesn't mean you need to lift crazy amounts of weight, and it doesn't mean you need to run for hundreds and hundreds of miles in a month. It just means that in overall health, that your cholesterol's in check, it's not too high. Your sugar, same thing, is not too high. You're not going to be predisposed for diabetes or atherosclerosis, obesity, heart attack, stroke, anything. So that's really what the physical aspect of the health means, is that your risk factors are very, very low based off of your body's physical abilities and how it functions in that matter. So you might be asking, what do I do? How do I do this? It's simple. You gotta exercise. You gotta get off your ass. You gotta get off your butt. You gotta go do any sort of exercise that you want to do, anything. It could be structured or unstructured, and what I mean by that is structured is you set a time out in the day. I'm going to do, let's just say, a run. I'm going to go run around my block for 30 minutes. That's structured. You set out a block time, you're going to do that for 30 minutes. Now, unstructured exercise could be, it's when you exercise where you don't plan on it or you don't allot yourself a time to it. So that could be, if you're on the 10th floor of your building, that could just be walking up and down the stairs instead of taking the elevator, as simple as that. When you're in a parking lot, you park all the way in the back, so you're getting those extra steps in. Now, the huge movement was the 10,000 steps a day. There's actually research showing that does absolutely nothing. What you actually need is more about 20,000 to 30,000 steps in a day. So instead of about 3 miles, which is what I believe the 10,000 steps is, you need more like 6, 7, 8, 10 miles a day. Now it's hard to get into because, we're busy, we have busy lives, desk jobs, we don't have time, and family, kids, we don't need to, in this society, we don't walk that much anymore, in the nomadic tribes, of course, because you have to walk, that's what they do. That was a society, that's how they lived, is that much walking. The only problem is we don't do that much more because we don't need to, because everything is afforded to us. We have power at the touch of our fingertips to get anything we want. So we do need to improve that. So it could be, you could even be like, if you like to garden, do gardening more, do extra chores around the house, mow your lawn, do it yourself. If you have someone else doing it, do it yourself. Like I said before, maybe you could bike ride to work. Maybe you could, like I said, park further away, use the stairs. Every time where you do everything, you're burning more calories throughout the day. You're also getting your heart rate up, blood pumping, everything. So that's good key unstructured exercise. Structured exercise, I'm sure as you know, it could be like going to a Pilates class, a yoga class, spin, hiring a personal trainer, going to the gym, lifting weights, resistance training. It could be just going on a pull-up bar at a park. So that's all structured exercise. It's all going to improve your cardiovascular fitness. It's going to improve your flexibility, your mobility, and everything. So that's what physical fitness entails, or the physical part of health entails. I'm going to move on to, let's do emotional. I'm going to go over emotional. Emotional definitely translates into physical, and it's also one of, in my opinion, the most problematic things, issues we have in America, and I would say the world, but mainly America today. There's just too many people being prescribed antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications, and it boggles my mind. I think we live in a society where we don't know how to control our emotions. We also live in false realities, which also heavily impacts our brain and how we perceive things, and neurocognitively how our brain makes connections. And that also leads and changes into our behavior patterns in everyday life, which is on the rise. Anxiety and depression is on the rise. It's been at the highest I think it's ever been in the years to come. And I think that definitely has to do with social media and just false realities and false sense of everything that the internet provides us. It's a double-edged sword for sure, because you have your benefits and your cons, but it's destroying your young children's minds, because they don't even have a sense of reality yet. They're still trying to figure out everything. That's the big reason kids are confused about themselves, don't know what's right and wrong. Is not only do they have to figure things out like in reality besides the internet, they have to also absorb the information and make process of the things in the technology world on the web. So that's a lot of things for your brain to take in at once. And what happens? Like a computer, too much information, kaboom. Also also, if you're not teaching the kids how to properly express their emotion, it's going to sit inside them. It's going to eat away at them. And we already have a stigma that mental health is, you kind of blame the person a little bit more. And you say it's more of their fault. That's more of like the culture and how it is. And less people are going to want to speak up. But it's a serious issue. And I believe a lot of that has to do with emotional control, or lack of it. Lack of emotional control, lack of expression of emotional control, and physical expression of emotional control, I think, is one of the best outlets to handle that. So if you want to do martial arts, any form of that, Tai Chi, yoga, weight training, anything, it's physical. Yes, it's physical in nature, but it's emotional. We don't realize how much emotion is physically. That's why I say, why is your body language so important? Because it emits an emotion. There's an emotional attachment there. So, that's really what you have to fix. You have to be able to deal with your emotions internally and extrinsically be able to process them and express them. And it's really getting your stress under control, because that's really what it is. Anxiety, it's stress. It's stress on your body. It's stimulating the fight or flight nervous system part of your body, the sympathetic. Which is high cortisol, that's your stress hormone, high cholesterol, high sugar. Actually, it depletes your sugar. It raises your sugar and depletes it, because it's physical energy, or from the anxiety, it manifests itself physically, also mentally, which means you're going to be burning through more calories. But also, your body's going to actually use the muscle tissue as a form of energy for glucose as well, because odds are, if you have anxiety, it also affects your stomach. That's called your enteric nervous system, your ENS, which also affects your brain. And as for me, who's dealt with anxiety, I don't eat as much. Definitely don't eat as much. And where does your body get the nutrients that it needs? From itself, which is not good. It breaks down itself for the things that it needs. Your body doesn't know that, but it's for survival. It's a survival instinct. That's the survival mechanism, is the fight or flight. So you have to get that under control. Usually physical activity will help suppress that. Improve mental clarity, reduce anxiety, reduce depression. It does that. There are studies that prove that. Starting small, working your way up. It's also being able to deal with your emotions. Talk to someone. I highly recommend you guys should talk to someone. If there's something on your chest, get it out. Get a support network. So establish yourself emotionally and hit the ground running in that way. Okay. Next thing is intellectual or psychological. Again, emotional. Like I said, the physical and emotional also manifests itself psychologically. It's all synergistic. It's all circular. Your body works as a unit. You could break it down into divisions, but at the end, it all goes back to what? The body. And that includes the mind. I don't separate the two. You shouldn't separate the two. The human body is, the mind is included in the human body, so do not separate those two. So that's when I say the human body, I include the mind and the body. But in society, we usually neglect this part. All we care about is what you could input and then output, and especially in school and work. So there's lack of disrespect to the body, in my opinion. Psychological. Again, I covered it with emotional. That will fix your psychological. But I'm going to focus the mental part and the psychological part, but I'm going to focus on the intellectual part. If you want to, how to get smarter in a way, I guess, you have to read. You have to read more. Whatever you like an interest in, read. Play an instrument. Learn a new hobby. do any one of these things, you're challenging your brain, and you're creating, it's called neurogenesis, which is the formation of new neurons, new neural connections. And then neuroplasticity is actually the strengthening and binding of these neural pathways. And it does lead to help prevent Alzheimer's disease and dementia when you're from early age. If you keep challenging your brain, if you don't use it, you lose it. That's exactly how it works in the brain as well as in the body. And neuroplasticity, kind of like the fertilizer. It's the fertilizer to the neurogenesis. That's the best way I can describe it. And if you do chess, if you play board games, setting set times to read, building, doing things with your hands, build things. That's all great things for your mind, and that will definitely increase your neurocognitive abilities. Okay, I've covered those three. I have 3 more to go. Let's do environmental. So actually, I'll do social. Let's do social. So social. The best way I can describe the social pillar of health is it's how you interact and your behaviors of interactions within people and situations. If someone has a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of emotional trauma, and even also if you don't like yourself physically, social interactions and social behaviors are going to be neglected. And you're going to get upset with yourself because you're going to be like, mentally, I want to do that. I want to act this way, but I can't do it because you're also self-limiting yourself. But if it's your physical body and your emotional not being able to express it, that's a problem, and you could fix that. So that's how fixing the physical and the emotional part can transcend into the social part. That's how you fix the social, is physically being better, emotionally being better, intellectually being better. So it's kind of like a trickle-down effect. The way I see it is you start with physical, and it's kind of like emotional, intellectual in the same kind of pathway. Then it leads to your social behavior changes because you're going to be happy, you're going to be more vibrant, and people pick up on that. It's an energy. It's empathic energy that you're going to disperse, and it's going to be, full of energy, full of life, and it's going to be like a new you, kind of, in a way. So that's how you increase it socially, your health socially, and this will lead into environmental. We are, biologically, we tend to subconsciously biologically do things in a way that we don't normally consciously perceive it as. So the environment that you're in is going to be the product. You're the product of your environment, is what I'm trying to say. So if you're in a situation or you're in hang out with a group of friends, it's a very toxic environment, very draining on you emotionally, physically, and intellectually. It all comes full circle, and it's going to put a toll on you if you're holding on to it. And if you don't know how to express it, like I said, it's going to eat away. If you're someone that eats it away and doesn't like to tell your emotions and say things, it's going to eat at you. It's going to eat at you. It's going to harbor. It's going to fester. It's the worst thing you can do. So you have to change your environment. Hang out with people. Hang out with people who, see things more positively. Maybe aren't as abusive emotionally. Hopefully not physically, but emotionally and mentally. Change your friend group. If there's a problem, you have to attack it and you have to change it. Okay? That's how you're going to change your environment, which also goes with social. All right? And the physical, emotional, intellectual, it's all going to play part all the way down to the environmental. Okay? That's how you're going to fix your behavioral, your environmental, the people around you. And you're going to change the space around you and the energy around you. It's going to be completely different. It's going to feel like life. It's going to feel health and wellness. That's what it's going to feel like. All right? And the last one is spiritual. Now, I don't see spiritual in the same way as in like religiously, I would say. I would say it's more of an intrinsic spiritual energy that just flows beneath you, and it's kind of the core of everything. It's the core of who you are. It's the you could say it's like your soul. It's that internal energy. Like I said before, if you can't express the emotion or that part of you, how is the soul or the spirituality health of you, how is that going to be expressed if you can't do it emotionally, you can't do it physically, if you're trapping it? That's how you become your true self, is you fix all these other elements of health, and then that spiritual part will come through, and then you'll have the most solid foundation, and you'll be the perfect person, most healthy, vibrant person you could be, and that will translate to every other aspect of life. and it will translate to other people, and it will start to change them neurocognitively and their environment and their behavior, and they'll become healthier. And it's just a huge domino effect. Okay? And you can do it. You know, you just have to take the right steps, acquire the right information, and then apply them. And you'll be successful, and you will change your life. You will become healthier, and you will truly become health, all aspects of health. You will truly get there. You just have to take the right steps, and I believe you can do it. All right, guys. I hope this information helped you. I hope this was educational and informative. This was my first video, so if there's hiccups and things like that, my apologies. This was my first video, but I had a fun time doing this. Like I said, I hope you guys learned this. I will be putting out more videos about health, and thank you guys for tuning in today. I would really appreciate it if you guys subscribed and liked and got this out to everywhere. I really do believe this information is vital and can help a lot of people. And thank you guys. I appreciate it. Take care.